So can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Hello,
Yes, your screen is visible.
am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, hello everyone. I am Rajkumar Singh Danu. So today I will be presenting my talk on entanglement, Bell's inequality, and abandoning of local hidden variable theory. So
To
I will
mention,
keep my talk and comprehensive. So the contents are as follows. So first of all, I will have an introduction. Then I will go for some basics of quantum mechanics. Then I will talk about EPR paradox. EPR stands for Einstein, Podolsky, and Rosen for the scientist. And next I will talk about Bell's theorem. And finally, why local hidden variable theory is not suitable. Okay, so in the early days of physics, most of the laws they were just discovered empirically. So as the technology grew, the vision and more phenomena they were exposed. So whole of the matter that was basically classified into two broad categories on the basis of behavior. The first one was the particle category and the another one was wave category. Now these two behaviors they were just complementary to one another. That is, if something can behave at one instant as particle, it cannot be a wave and vice versa. But there were many experimental cases which found that light would actually behave both the ways. This was quite undigestible for many physicists, but what else they can do? They have to accept it. And they named it as the dual nature of light. Very soon, de Broglie, he postulated that not only light, but matter also behaves both the ways, motivated by the fact that nature loves symmetry. So he said matter also behave both the ways, and he called it the dual nature of matter. So the quantum era had begun, and there was a requirement of mathematically rigorous, well structured. So system is described by wave function psi, which obeys Schrodinger's differential equation I h bar del by del t of psi equals Hamiltonian of psi. Now, I'm going to explain you a weird principle which is called the principle of superposition, in which the wave function it can be written as a linear combination of certain states, and these certain states are what we call the basis states. Here, cat1 and cat2, these are the basis states. Now I'll explain you about something about the basis states. Now cat1 and cat2, I am calling them as the basis states. They are mutually exclusive in the sense, for example, cat1 is true and cat2 is false. So a quantum mechanical system at the same time can be in a linear superposition of true as well as false. Very weird, but this is what we call the superposition principle. Now, in that sense, I called cat1 and cat2 as mutually exclusive. Now, one more important point which will be used further, which is whenever you make a measurement on the quantum mechanical system, so the wave function or state is thrown into one of the basis states. That is, suppose there is a quantum mechanical system which is evolving naturally, and you did some artificial interference, that is what I call measurement for the system. So the system will be found either in true state or in the false state, and never in the linear superposition of the state. So this is what we call the collapsing of the wave function. So that was the basic of quantum mechanics. Now EPR paradox. So I will present David Bohm's version of EPR paradox. So consider a simple experiment in which the neutral pi meson it is decayed into a positron and an electron. Now everyone know that the neutral pi meson it has a spin of spin dynamical. So through the superposition principle, the composite state of the entire this system, the decayed system, can be written as a linear combination of these two states in the second point, 1 over root 2 and this bracket stuff, where the up arrow it represents spin up, and the downward arrow, it represents spin down. And negative and positive sign are respectively for electron and positron. Actually, you do have just two values of the spin for electron and positron. So that is positive h bar by 2 and negative h bar by 2. So the positive h bar by 2, this is represented by the upward arrow, and negative h bar by 2, this is represented by the downward arrow. So since this basis state, they should obey the law of conservation of spin angular momentum, and prior to decay, the pi meson, it has the zero spin angular momentum. So each and every basis state, it should have the net spin angular momentum as zero. So you can see these two basis states, one has to be in the upward direction and one has to be in the downward direction. So the state will be in a superposition of these two states. So as mentioned earlier, the system will be thrown into either this on measure. So if the system, say, is found in any one of the basis state, for example, the electron in the spin up state and the positron in the spin down state, then this means that whether the experimenters or the observers, they are 20 meters apart or 20 light years apart, if one measures the spin of the positron in the downward direction, then 100%ly the electron measurement has to come up with spin up measurement. So this weird phenomena was technically called quantum entanglement. So actually this effect was very instantaneous. You can see without the lag of time, the mathematics predicts it, but it was not consistent with special relativity. And this was the thing which bothered Einstein, and he called it spooky action at a distance. Actually, I'm going to tell you about the principle of locality. Now, no influence can travel faster than the speed of light is what we call the principle of locality. So Einstein thought, since this effect was very instantaneous, the entanglement was instantaneous, so he called it a non-local theory. So that was the paradox that Einstein was suffering from. So they call it non-local theory, but I do believe that quantum mechanics or quantum mechanical theory is a local theory, because this even happens in the classical experiment. For example, you do have a box and a ball, and you allow them to collide. So after the collision, with the application of certain conservation laws, you can find the dynamical variable associated with the ball, its momentum, its velocity, its kinetic energy. So instantaneously, you can know the property or the dynamical, be it velocity, momentum, etc. But that doesn't mean that the classical theory or the classical calculation we did and whatever references we took from them is actually non-local. It's just that you know the property of one component of the system and you instantaneously know the property of the other. So I think this is the same entanglement is the same manifestation or artifact of such a process. And actually people use this locality in a very wrong sense. So they have to actually accept the real meaning of locality. Now, what actually Bell did? Actually, Einstein had no problem in the working of quantum mechanics, but he believed that quantum mechanics is an incomplete theory. Apart from just a wave function, we do have another variable, call it lambda, which is a number or a set of numbers, and he named it as the hidden variable. So psi was not the complete story. So what Bell proved was the local hidden variable theory is inconsistent with quantum mechanics. So in the EPR experiment, which was about the decay of the neutral pi meson, we had the detectors which actually measures electron spin and the positron spin in the same direction. They were aligned in the same direction. So what Bell did, he generalized the experiment of EPR. So what he did, he actually made the measurement of the electron cap. So if one makes the measurement of the electron and positron spin in the arbitrary directions, and he can actually tabulate the following table: one for the electron, one column for the positron, and their respective. Now, since the detectors, they will measure the spin in the units of h bar by 2. So they will just show either as positive one or negative one. So this is what has been recorded in the table. So these are the data of the observers. So plus one for the electron, and the same time we get minus one for the positron and their product. And similarly proceed as follows. Now there is a well established result in quantum mechanics. No conflict with this result. It is an experimentally proven result that the average of the products for the detectors oriented in A cap direction and B cap direction equals negative of the dot product of the two directional vectors. So what Bell discovered was this result is impossible in any local hidden variable theory. Now we will try to formulate a local hidden variable theory, and we will try to have or see the result, the same result which actually quantum mechanics predicts, whether the local hidden variable theory can explain the results in its own way or not. Now, suppose the complete state of the system is described by the hidden variable lambda. Now, we want to keep the theory as general as possible. So we are not going to the explicit expression for lambda. Now, lambda varies in an unknown fashion. Now, assume two measurements are completely independent of each other. So, by saying this thing, we are actually including the locality principle in the hidden variable theory. Now, there would exist some function, capital A lambda, where small a is the direction of the detector, which is used for the measurement of the electron, and B small b lambda, which is associated with the positron measurement. Actually, lambda and B, actually capital A and capital B, they are the function of the direction as well as this hidden variable lambda. Now, suppose these function, they actually in some way correspond to the spin. So we will actually have an instant where A and B, capital A and B, they would account for the spin. Now, A and B in that case can only take two values, that is positive one or negative one. So the product of the well-known mathematical formula, you do have a probability distribution for lambda. Just look at on the star equation on right hand side inside the integral sign. And then we have the two functions which are actually product. So the average of the product for A cap B cap equals integral of rho lambda capital A capital B d lambda. Now we always want the conservation of the spin angular momentum. It should hold because it is the basic principle. We don't want to leave that from any of the theory. So when the results, sorry, the detectors, they are aligned in the same direction, the results are capital A cap lambda should be equal to negative of B A cap lambda, the same as in the EPR experiment. So by including this expression into the star equation, the star equation becomes negative of the integral rho lambda a lambda a b cap lambda d lambda. Now just choose another unit vector, that is c vector. Then again look at this star equation. You can again produce the same equation for the a vector and c vector. So when you actually subtract that, you get this equation, which is actually highlighted in the orange colored expression. Now you also know that a squared, it should be positive one because a can just take two values, either negative one or positive one. Now what we are going to do is we are going to overestimate the integral. Now look at the integral on the right hand side in the second last expression. So just by taking these terms common, you can actually make the orange highlighted integral to the second last integral as follows. So rho lambda is going to be a positive quantity because it is a probability distribution. And inside the square brackets, this quantity is also going to be a positive quantity because either you take positive or negative. This can, moreover, can be equal to zero, but never a negative quantity. But in an order to overestimate the integral, the last two expression, that is two functions, capital A cap lambda and capital A B cap lambda, they have to be put equal to positive 1 because we are going to overestimate the integral. So we will have to put the maximum value. So just by taking the modulus and putting these values as product of these two a's as positive 1, we arrived to the inequality, which is the last inequality over here. So this was the famous Bell's inequality. Now what we are going to do is we are going to check this Bell's inequality for
Your
the
time
three.
is over, Rajkumar.
So last just 2 minutes or moreover just 50 seconds, sir. Conclusion I have to arrive.
Quickly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we do have just three vectors A, B, and C, which are oriented in the following fashion, which I've showed. So the quantum mechanics says the average of the product A, B equals 0, average of these things equal to 0, and minus 0.707. But the Bell's inequality, it predicts that this is not the case. This inequality doesn't hold, which simply implies this inequality, Bell's inequality, is inconsistent with the result of quantum mechanics, which were well established. So here is the conclusion that the hidden variable theory, local hidden variable theory, is not able to explain the well-established results of the experiments. So Bell's theorem, anyhow, it excluded the existence of local hidden variable theory. So thank you very much. The references are Barton Jubeck, MIT Lectures on Quantum Mechanics, and DJ Griffiths, An Introduction to Quantum Mechanics. Thank you. Done, sir.
Okay, Kaushik.
Okay. So that you have told is that, I mean, is it applicable in any practical application? There was an example of that.
So what thing?
I mean, just a theory, or I mean, that paradox. I mean, is it applicable in any example or any mathematical example?
So what is applicable? I'm not able to understand. Can you clear me more?
Actually, I'm saying you told no that that
Yeah.
local variable, that quantum mechanics. So,
Yes, sir.
so that Bell that that can
Yeah. In fact, it was a false inequality. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, is it applicable in? I mean, is it
It is
visible
applicable to
in
every
any
ABC.
what?
So Bell's inequality is actually applicable to any arbitrary directions of the detector, sir.
Okay.
Arbitrary ABC. So I actually in the last slide I assume to be very specific ABC. So just to verify the theory that this region doesn't hold with quantum mechanics.
Oh, can you a little bit explain that that part?
So this slide, you just say me stop. This one.
Actually, it is not moving to me.
You cannot see last slide.
No.
God. Anyone can see my slide?
Yeah, now
It is visible to you?
It's visible. It is
Oh,
visible.
yeah. Now it is visible. Yeah, now it is moving.
Okay. So what do you want to ask, sir?
So go to that that you told that last slide where you chose that ABC where.
I'm in that only.
Yeah. Okay. Can you explain it a little bit?
Okay. So the inequality, Bell's inequality was this: the average of the products for AB minus the average of the product AC modulus taken is always less or equal to 1 plus average of the product BC. And I have a well-established result of quantum mechanics, which is average of the product of AB is equal to negative of the dot product of AB. So we are going to calculate all the three average products in the various couple of directions. So that is what we did. So quantum mechanics says the
Okay.
average of the product. Yeah. So the results were actually inconsistent, but quantum mechanics was winning because it was well established and well supported by the experiment. And Bell's inequality was not able to explain the same results. So that's what has been done.
Okay, okay. It's fine. Devu, you have any question?
Yeah, previously someone presented on this thing that there is a role of local variable before and after measurement or whatever. Or in your case, you are saying that local variable is not playing any role. So when
Yes,
you
sir.
measure some quantity, then what will happen to that entangled states? I mean, do you
Okay.
get my question?
Like just look at the second expression 1 over root 2 1. So this is an entangled state. So I have already mentioned in the quantum mechanics slide that whenever the measurement on the composite system is done, so the wave function is thrown into one of the basis states. So these are actually the basis states which are separated by the plus sign. So if the measurement is done, suppose the system is thrown into first basis state, this state which is to the left of the plus sign. So so that means you make the measurement on the positron which has spin down. So automatically the spin up state has to be referred to the electron, and this is indeed the case.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's all from me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then now you can leave, and I mean you can
Okay, you can
next
close your
presentation.
presentation. We'll
You can
move to
close
our
your
next
slide.
presentation.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Who is next? Rohit Kumar.